What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the WASD and Beyond podcast.
Hot fix.
You're doing this thing every episode now, and it's not. Just not. You're a bastard.
He's gonna call me in the morning and be like, "You mother."
You're the number one bullshit guy, is what you are. Number one bullshit guy.
I had to think about the meme.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome back to the show, guys. I don't know where to start. I'm Nick. That's Evan, obviously.
How's your week been?
My week's been fine. It just started. That does.
How's your past week been? I don't know.
It was all right.
How was your week? How was your weekend?
It was good. Just relaxed. We tried getting an episode out last week. The website fucked us. Tried pulling audio from the video. The audio in the video was fucked. So now we're making it up this week with 2 full-length episodes, which I think is fair. I guess I'm in a brain fog, man, after watching what we're going to be discussing today.
Yeah.
I'm in a brain fog.
I've been kind of in a state of disbelief after the episode on Thursday. And I had to make up for it over the weekend, right? So it's like, I just hung out and did nothing Friday, Saturday. I was just sad. I got a haircut. I had to change my whole persona.
And you shaved.
I did shave, yes. So like I had to become a whole new person after this because it was just so bad. Like it was heartbreaking.
It was something.
I had to write a 10-minute rewrite because I just had to have this different understanding of the show that we're discussing. I had to completely change my brain and go like, no, that wasn't the ending. I have a better ending, and I did it.
And you know
which
what?
is not to toot my own horn. It's just like, I mean, anybody could have come with a better ending.
It makes sense though, and we'll get into it right after we thank our sponsors for sponsoring the show. WASD and Beyond is sponsored by FINALBOSS and LONGY. FINALBOSS is dropping Rappa the Rappa. Dude, I'm losing it. I believe 9 Inch Nails on Friday. And LONGY is dropping some shit, I believe, on Friday. I think both of our sponsors are dropping new things. So be on lookout on both their pages. I'm terrible for not knowing what our friends are dropping, but I am wearing the FINALBOSS Mortal Kombat t-shirt right now. And I love this thing so much that I've worn it out. And FINALBOSS and LONGY, they're the best in the game. Check them out. Then love their way from WASD and Beyond. Now, to get into the episode, we're going to just cap off the Halo series. We started this series off as individual hot fixes, starting with the first episode. Then we started combining episodes, and I think we did skip an episode to talk about, but
we did. We didn't do like 6. I think we didn't do 6.
We didn't do 6.
Yeah,
but
we did 7. I don't even remember 6. That's how important it is.
That is, it is what it is. We are going to start this episode talking about the finale.
6 is Quan's episode.
No, 7 is Quan's episode.
We covered that one, not 6.
Yes, the one I skipped.
Man.
But so we're gonna talk about the finale of Halo because I just watched it today, and we're gonna
talk. It's fresh in his mind.
We don't really need to go into depth on the entire series, but what we can do and what we should do is talk about the things that they can improve on for season 2. It's already been greenlit. Geeky Wolfkill was talking about it a couple days ago.
That's kind of a buzzkill for me, because that's not the only show that's done this. I'm sure not ever, but the only one I can think of off the top of my head that I know that's been greenlit already for a second season that hasn't even been revealed or shown, or there's been a first episode, was HBO's House of Dragons, the Game of Thrones spinoff. And it's like, okay, it might be that good, but what happens when viewership is just dropped off and you're already in the middle of producing season 2?
That's what I'm thinking.
Granted, I think it's a little bit more difficult now with streamers, is that they're not releasing numbers, as far as I know. They just say obscure things, right? Like Netflix said something about how Bird Box was watched by 100 million households or whatever. Like, but there's no rating system like a Nielsen rating.
Right.
Which is typically the way of describe, like 100 million households is what demographic. So like the same thing with Halo is like, I don't know how many people watch the damn show. And I mean, they do, but they don't care because then now they can just say, yeah, it was enough to do a season 2. And it's like, it might not entirely be true, or it might not be. I think Noah, our friend Noah, had a good example or an idea of why they do that, is that they just went, he said something like where they went over budget for the first season. So now they have to recoup that cost by doing a second season to make the money back.
Possible. I mean,
well, I mean, what? This was a $90 million season, an opener season at $90 million, is $10 million an episode.
Which we're going to get into. I think somebody was embezzling that money because
somebody put an extra 0 on there.
Yeah,
you did not need 10 million for each of these episodes.
No, there was no way that was spent on the show. There's no way with how cheap it is. The only thing I can say is that I do like the Spartans. I like how the Spartans look. In this episode particularly, I do like the turnaround because they act like Spartans again. I really think halfway. No, I think at the end of
we're
the
gonna
season,
spoil this.
It's right off the rip. It's gonna be a spoiler. At the end of the season, the last episode is when I think somebody came in and went, "They're not robots," because Bannock and Riz still have their inhibitors in.
They do,
but
or they just don't. They just didn't say it.
I'm telling you, I think somebody came into the writer's room and was like, "This is bad. They're not robots." And they just caught it the last episode. So it picks up where the last episode left off, where everything's all fucked up. Everything's exploded. No good. Halsey's being a shithead bitch in her little spaceship. And
Kay has taken the artifact.
Yeah, she
Chief has been beat to hell.
All
by
hell's
Riz
broken
and
loose.
Yeah.
And Commander Keyes walks in to basically a standoff with the Spartans. And Chief's like, "We were stolen as kids, abducted, blah, blah." And they're like, "No, can't be." And then Commander Keyes is like, "Yep." And then like, "You bastard." And then that's it.
They're like, yeah, because that happens later in the episode as well, where Keyes does apologize or try to apologize to Chief, saying like, "There's no apology." He doesn't say "I'm sorry," but he's like, "There's no way an apology would ever make up for it." And then Chief says this weird like,
"The reckoning."
He says like, "We all have a reckoning someday," and it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
like,
stop being an ominous dude, man. Just be like, you know what, whatever. At this point,
like it was just weird, and that's partially, I think, due to the whole inhibitor thing, like where he's got these more snarky comments.
But again, going back to their Spartans, since you brought the inhibitor up, they're displaying extreme amounts of emotion right there. Anger, confusion, just a bunch of different emotions are rushing through them after they've been told we were abducted. And it's like, so did maybe the inhibitor was destroyed during that past?
Nope. If you do that, then you have to cover that. You can't just say it is at the beginning of the second season. You can't.
I think that they just went, "This is stupid. We're not doing the inhibitor thing."
Because here's the thing: is that again, we've talked about this time and time again about this show, and one thing I've said before that I hate is when people treat the audience like a bunch of morons. And it's like, here's the thing: is that them not showing in any capacity or saying even just a slight comment in any capacity about these inhibitors being destroyed and then them saying at the beginning of the second season is not treating your audience smart. It's just you're
They're
lazy.
Not respectful of their audience on the show at all.
You're cleaning up a mess. Like, if it's something where it's like, if it's a quick scene, it's chaotic, or it's, a more toned down scene and Halsey's just talking about like, "Oh, the other inhibitors are offline. Must have been from the last battle." I mean, granted, that's pretty obvious, but like, something in that line is required for an important thing like that, because you made it important at the beginning of the show, because Chief was a robot, more or less. Like, he was. He didn't care about Quan at all, about her being a refugee or survivor or anything like that. He barely recognized her as a person, which I don't think is Chief's MO ever. Like, Chief recognizes humans and he cares for them, because that's like, I don't know, kind of like his job description, like the weapon of humanity. Like, I don't know, that's pretty obvious, as you can't just ignore them.
Holy shit.
And so you have that, and then he takes it out, Kai takes hers out, Riz and Vanek keep theirs on, but then like you said, it's like they almost have this look of shock, and it's like, but if we go back to the first episode with how they were, Chief would have just shot him. He would have, like, if Chief were in Vanek's position, he would have just shot him or told him to stand down or like done a non-lethal way of shutting him up.
Later on
Like,
through the episode, you
yeah.
hear Vanek and Riz say these really fucking. Later on, the episode is when it shines. I will say there are some great battle sequences, though. I do want to touch on the CGI for the planet because, like, I looked at it, I was like, "Holy shit, this is terrible." Harry looked up at the TV and went, "That's awesome," and I was like, "It's bad." But they drop these one-liners. I'm like, the inhibitor says differently here.
Well, like, I'm trying to remember if they ever did anything like that in the first episode where they made any quips.
Nope. Absolutely not.
Yeah, like
Straight to
Chief
the point.
says afternoon when he lands on that grunt.
The grunt is just sitting
I laughed
there.
at that.
The grunt looks great. I will say you could see they picked and chose like
for
what
their
to spend
for their
money on.
$10 million budget. They had to divide like up 200,000 of that on the CGI or whatever. Because that's my biggest question, is that I can't remember the specific series or season, but like Walking Dead was making their show for like $1 million an episode. Like that was their budget, and they had way better effects because they were all practical. So it's like $10 million an episode for CGI is like, you think that, you know, that would make sense.
You have Microsoft essentially backing you. If you're running into issue, you are using Steven Spielberg's company, are you not?
What are you talking about? Was Paramount his company?
No, but Steven Spielberg had things to do with the series. He like produced it, I thought.
It was a Showtime production. I don't remember who produced it.
I thought Steven Spielberg had shit to do with this. I thought it was.
If Steven Spielberg had shit to do with this, it would have been a much better show.
I thought he did, man. But like that scene. Okay, so whatever. They Chief goes, shattered glass, like dust, whatever, kaleidoscope effect. Cortana says. They fucking go, we can't see the planet because of gravitational bullshits. They go to where the Covenant planet is. Okay.
Have a regular guy explain quantum physics.
Yeah, and bullshits.
It's gravitational lensing.
Which right there, I'm like, okay, sci-fi, Halo. That sounds like it would be in Halo. I'm cool with that.
But what were you thinking when you saw the kaleidoscope? You were thinking it was like the city.
Yeah.
You were thinking it was like High Charity, like how we saw in the first episode.
Why would it not?
And it's just some Mars-looking planet that's just hidden.
Before we get there, let's talk about the spaghettification scene and all that, because like that's when you start to see Halsey. First off, Kai kills the scientist guy by just throwing him up in the air and just destroys this man.
The simp guy, he snapped his neck in like no time at all.
I liked that. She was just like, bam. He hit her with a sledgehammer.
Well, I thought there was gonna be a one-liner from her because of like her having her inhibitor out, and I thought she was gonna like turn around and just be like, "Why would you do that?" I gotta kill you. Like I was going to anyway, but like now it's a guarantee. Like
that like run she did to get onto Halsey's ship. When Halsey's running away, I'm like, put that to use now.
Oh, like the ship when she's running to the ship and she jumps like 30 feet in the air and like
use now.
Well, yeah, and then she runs like just like a regular person when she's in the ship.
And then the door. You just showed us. I literally, in the last episode, you lifted up a warthog.
And something heavier, didn't she?
Yes.
No, that was the second thing. She lifted up the warthog second, but she lifted up something just as heavy the first time, or what looked like.
And you just showed us you could open the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would she not, if I were writing this, Kai gets the door open and follows the pod down.
Yeah, or just punches through it. Like yeah, I see what you're saying. Like it's inconsistent in those sort of
because
like,
they wanted the superhero moment. Because then she's like, she rises.
Well, you
from
build,
smoke.
Which is like, so what was that for?
Trope.
Like
they needed it for the fucking effect. That's gonna be in the trailer somewhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure that's. Holy shit, you just came up with a great way of describing it. As like this show is just moments filled for trailers.
Yes.
Like it is. It's I mean, they have the whole, I can't even remember what they used for the first the trailer on Twitter for the final episode, but yeah, it had something to do with the final battle. Which again is, to talk about that, I understood that what for that scene or like that setup or like the place itself is like very designed to be like the games. Like it's this dusty orange look to it,
It looked
and it's got
bad.
it does look bad. It looks terrible. It looks like they took it from Halo Combat Evolved, literally. Like they just took a PNG and put it on there.
When
And
you
they were like,
first see the
yeah,
elites walking, I was like,
oh
is
yeah,
that from like an original
a
Halo
game.
game? Like,
Yeah,
I was like, oh, it literally looks like what they did was like what you said. They're like, okay, can we find like gifs of elites walking, and we'll just
yeah,
plop them in.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, it's like you said, they just pick and chose. Like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, we'll use the budget for more of like Chief stepping on a grunt's head
it was
or
cool.
not. It was cool. I'm not going to deny that, but it's like the CGI, especially for the same scene, has to be consistent. It can't be
Yeah,
it can't
yeah.
be good CGI and then bad CGI right off the bat, because it's like if it's all bad CGI, then that's easier to follow. But if it's
Even
good
yeah,
CGI followed by bad, it's it's really weird. And so that whole thing too, though, was another. I was enjoying that battle. I was enjoying that battle.
it looked good for the most part. It looked good. There were some parts I was like,
Well, I just enjoyed that it was a battle,
I
right? Like, I
enjoyed
mean,
that it was there. Yeah,
we only got three battles between Spartans and Covenant through the whole season. We had one fight that was just the Spartans, which I thought that fight was good just because it was showing Chief's ability to hold off two Spartans in their armor
yeah,
while he was not.
yeah.
Um, so I thought that was cool, but that's the thing, is it's inconsistent, right? It's like they're able to do, like, they are supposed to be these badass super soldiers, and they are when the show's creators want them to be. But when but it all of a sudden their plot armor is lost to give you a sense of, oh no. But realistically, I never had any doubt in my mind that they would all make it out.
Oh,
Like, except for maybe Riz, because
oh,
she got,
she's fucking fine. Okay,
yeah, she is fine, but that's the thing, is that like they tried to do that, right? They blow off her armor, which is the only time I think in this entire season where a Spartan's armor comes off due to like and getting shot, blown up, whatever. I mean, we just talked about this before we started. Is these Spartans don't take any damage to their armor. Chief gets blood on his in that third or fourth episode, and like they get scratches and all this other kind of stuff. But when their shields are low, which again we had to see a lot of that because they had to do the whole first person
which
perspective
I
for
will
some of
go
this
into that in a
fight.
minute. Oh, well,
Um,
we have to actually track back, and then we'll go back. Yes,
we're jumping around here, but
that's because that's all this
um,
episode was.
there was a lot of jumping back and forth. But like what I was going with that is, it's like when they do lose their shield, which in the games and books and whatnot, and again, and I know people are going to be like, well, it's not supposed to be. It's like, let me put this in here though, is that this is something that I don't think gets changed for any particularly good reason. I think it's changed for a bad reason, because it doesn't really, again, give you a sense of worry, because it's like, Chief, my shields are down, or the Chief shields are down, and then you're looking at it and he's still just blocking plasma. Like, he's still not taking any physical damage because the shield is still there, because every time it gets hit by a blaster or it gets hit by like a beam or whatever they're called, I don't know what a shot,
It's
I guess.
plasma. Yeah, it's
Well,
plasma
plasma,
rounds.
but I don't know what you'd call plasma round. Yeah, sure, I don't know how you would define them, but like, the armor doesn't get hurt. It's just the shield shows up orange instead of blue, which is like, I guess, the show's creators of saying, look, it's like the games, which is like, no, when you lose your shield in the game, you just get shot. Like, nothing crazy happens. It's pretty simple. It's like the shield blocks the stuff. When the shield doesn't work because it's down, you don't block the stuff anymore. You just get shot.
They cover.
Like,
That's what
yeah, you
Spartans
take,
do.
which is like, again, you should show more of like, I don't know, man. I think it's just, go
Like
on. My head hurts.
the ship is getting destroyed because they have to go into slip space, and then the gravitational pulls, the various gravitational pulls is starting to pull the ship apart. Cortana fucking directs Chief. Chief like has like a snap moment where he's like, and then he goes, bear left. And then
Yeah.
that's it. And then they make it through, and then everyone's cool. They get to the planet. That's when what Evan and I were saying was Chief jumps out. All the Spartans hell jump pretty much, which was dope. It was a great scene. And Chief lands onto a grunt, and as he's done, he goes, afternoon. That I audibly laughed because I was like, that is funny. Like, that was
Yeah.
good. Like, I do appreciate that.
Sure.
But then, like, because you've already talked about the battle a little bit, it does what the Doom movie did, and
Yeah, it
nobody
switches.
wanted that in
It
Doom.
switches back and forth between the first and regular
At least in
scenes.
Doom, it was just that one scene.
Well, and it doesn't follow that. It just stays that way for the most part through
Until,
that
like,
whole
the
scene.
rock fight, pretty much, if I'm not mistaken.
Until the big battle. Whereas with this is like
It
they
was
push.
disorientating, dude. It was in, out,
Yeah,
around, and then, like...
it's
Sorry.
like I don't like. What are you trying to show? Again, it's just like like we said, it is a show that the entirety of its 45 minutes are just used to. There's filler, like a bad album that just has bad songs in between, and then you have these good 1 to 2 minute scenes that they use to put on Twitter and be like, you ready to see transcendence, which is, or you ready to transcend whatever the episode name is, which is, again, it's dumb words that are used, not dumb words, but it's dumb to use these words in the context of these episodes, because it's like, okay, when is that ever muttered? It's when Halsey says it at the end, and maybe it's supposed to be a transcendence is the thing of Halsey's dream being achieved and Cortana taking over Chief's body. But
Which
again,
we'll get into that in a second. Cortana also on the ship told Chief why she was created. Chief goes, okay, why can you do this? She goes, I'm here to learn, and I'm learning from you, and blah, blah, blah. She actually becomes Cortana, and they become Cortana and the Chief in the last episode.
And only for 5 minutes.
And for
10
5
minutes,
fucking
whatever
minutes.
it is.
And in between all this, they have EMP'd Halsey's escape pod. Miranda goes in, tells Halsey she's getting Article 72'd.
Which is executed.
Which is execution. And in between this fight, it snaps back to Reach, and here's Halsey on the table going... Blah, 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 blah. Terrible scene, because, like, the actress...
She's having a seizure.
She was doing the best she could for the show, I think. But the acting of the seizure scene, I was like, this is stupid.
Miranda Keyes had this... It was a kind of a weird, like, reaction where it felt, again, kind of hollow and whatnot, only for us to just be like, oh, it's not actually Halsey.
What a twist,
because
it's a Flash clone.
Yeah, which is, like, again, still weird. Again, weird process of that, I guess. And then, funny enough, that's a Flash clone, and I think Miranda says that. She says it's a Flash clone, it's not actually Halsey. Which, all right, if she doesn't, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Again, why didn't she? Because she clearly learned it. Like, that's kind of what that scene shows us. And then if she did know it and she did say it, why was Reach not put on, like, a lockdown? She was just saying to Halsey that she was too dangerous to be put in prison or to be, like, court-martial, like, or like another thing. So the only way they could keep track of her was to kill her, because then there's no keeping track, she said. And then it's like, Miranda doesn't say it. Why not? You're just going to let her get away. And then 2, if you did say it, how was she just in a park with kids?
We'll get to there. So, back to fucking the alien planet. Thank you. We will get to that, though, I promise.
Which is like the Covenant homeworld, but, like,
the prophets, during all this shit,
that's funny,
are just beeble-bobbling up in the air going, fuck. What the fuck? What the fuck?
What do we do? What do we do? I think it's really their chairs. Their chairs are so immobile. Like, it's just worthless. It's like, if I were in a battle in my chair, right? It's like, what am I doing? Like,
You're not leaving. Get the fuck out. Because they're going to sacrifice McKee to get the star map to show them where Halo is.
Which is also to show, like, the tragedy of her character, which I will say she is
cool with that.
She is the most tragic of all the characters on the show, because of, like, we've seen her arc, right? She's a kid, she's abused, beaten, not cared for, she's homeless, she's taken in by the Covenant just to be indoctrinated, just to go find and kill Chief, only to then not kill Chief because he gave her the good, and then, and then, she realizes that humans are all bad, or she thinks humans are all bad because the sadistic guy stabbed, or, like, electrocuted her for 15 seconds too long, which was weird. Like, I don't know why he held it on her like that.
Dude, I don't know.
Only for her to then be like, she brings it back and she's like, look, I did good, I did what you wanted, only for them to be like, she's worthless anyway, she's a stupid human.
Yeah.
So, like, which is tragic. Like, I honestly, I gotta say, that's the brutality of them. It's like, they used her and abused her only just to get this artifact, because they're so like, it's just so self-conscious, not conscious, I can't think of the right word for it, but like their only goal is to reach this Halo, to
The
reach,
prophecy. Yeah.
the prophecy. And it's like they'll do whatever they can to get to it, which is exactly what you need to show for them, because it's like that's all they care about. They don't care about anything else.
Right.
They
And
just don't.
so that's happening. McKee spots John. This is after like they're about to activate the star map. The Spartans already in, doing their thing, killing people. They're dropping one-liners, which tells me the inhibitors aren't working anymore, or the writing team just forgot, which it's probably the second of that. And McKee grabs the fucking stones, causing everybody to fly off the map pretty much. And John and her transport to Halo in their minds. They're talking, and then, like a trope from a bad movie, she starts bleeding from her chest, and they snap out of it.
Well, no, that's isn't that in two parts? I mean, you just saw it, but like, isn't it so like everybody gets sent off? Because I thought it happened twice. I thought she did it twice.
No, she did it once, if I recall
She
correctly.
just,
I mean, there is also, we forgot to talk about the brutes dropping in, which they looked cool, but they were easily the entire time you're watching the chief fight these Covenant soldiers, brutes, elites, grunts. Looks great. Like, it's
he's
chief
kicking ass.
being chief, which leads me to go, why did they need to do this bullshit?
They did. Hold on.
Yeah. Let's keep going.
For the brutes, though, I will say I noticed this in the first episode when he was fighting the elites, and now fighting the brutes. He kind of just does the same move.
Like, I slap my gun around. I slap my.
Yeah, he just learned this slapping technique of using his battle rifle that like the other three Spartans just are like, how do you do that? And it's like
patent,
you're watching him just like, it's cool. He uses that rifle as a melee weapon as well as a rifle, in the sense of like he knows the limit that it can block, or like, deflect, or against like their hammers or whatever they're using, only for like just a genetically mutated brute who is Atriox. Which,
why did they do that?
Because he is the newest character.
They just threw Atriox in there. I was like, what?
And Atriox is, you've read the books, I'm not, but I know that Atriox is just an Infinite, right? He's not in any of the books.
I don't believe so. Special, I haven't read the books since I was like a kid. I just started the Fall of Reach again. And I tell you what, if they would have just done the Fall of Reach book as a show, it would have been good.
He is, yeah, as far as I'm seeing, he is just the leader of the Banished.
Okay, so like, for fucking 5, for Infinite.
Yeah, so he was just in Infinite, and like most of the stuff that I'm reading out right here about it is just stuff that you can find in game on Infinite, or like just the audio logs or whatever. So that's again one of those things where it's like, they don't say, unless you saw it in the first person view when he's like scanning Atriox. I don't think it says Atriox on there. The only way I learned it was Atriox was because of the subtitles.
Because the subtitles.
Yeah, the subtitles just say his name, which is like, were you trying to set up that it was supposed to be some like long-lasting revenge between them? Which is like, one, it's not in the series, and two, it just like, there's no mention of that other than like, oh yeah, he was there 3 episodes ago and he dropped down and threw me a blonde girl and then left with the stones I need. That's all he did. He didn't even really fight Chief in that episode. It's not like Chief like gave him a scar in that first episode. He gives him a scar in this one. He just like shoots his cheek, only for him to then be like, yeah, because of something that happens later, he gets blasted off the mountain too.
Oh, but so who knows if this he's alive still.
Oh, he is alive, but it's like, I mean, again, it was like, what did that set up? Just like that he wounded him, so that way they can show us that in like the middle of the second season and be like, oh yeah, it's that, brute that Chief shot in the cheek, only for him to be like, I remember you, demon, and then Chief to just sit there and let crickets go because he doesn't talk anymore, apparently.
Let's go into why. So McKee is dead. Chief is seemingly dying because
although there's no visible wound anywhere. He's not actually hurt.
It's just his armor.
His shield's orange, bro. That's how you got to know.
The Chief's armor's going down. And Evan, do the honors to explain why everybody is pissed off. Because honestly, up until this point, I was like,
so
this is okay.
So he wakes back up from his little, dream nap with McKee, and Kai is hurt and losing her strength. Riz just got a sticky grenade put on her chest, so like
Which was
she's like
cool.
losing blood, which was cool. And Vanek just got shot through like a wall.
Just like fucking ate shit, dude.
Yeah, he just got hit by a wall a couple times. Like he just got blasted back by force and just hit a couple walls and like is done. Like he's just tired. And Chief's like, Cortana, we need to save the artifact and the other Spartans. What do we do? And Cortana's like, there's nothing you can do, Chief. You can only save one or the other. And in my mind, I was like, cool, sacrifice time. Like somebody's got to die, or they all got to die, or they got to just get rid of the artifact and just be fine without it. Again, while this is going on, the prophets are 30 feet up.
They're just sitting there going, a beeble bobble, a beeble bobble.
They're like, holy shit, how's this gonna go?
This
like they're
sucks.
watching an MMA fight.
Yeah, this sucks, man.
They're like waiting for the final round over here, and
our guy's losing.
Chief just goes, I can't do it, but you can, which is not something Chief ever says.
It's not something he would ever do.
It's not something he would do or say or think. And she's like, Cortana's like, what? Like, for plot reasons, I guess you got to do this, but like, I mean, realistically, you could do much better. We could just like let our shield get back up and go to like cover because we've got like 4 walls right here. And Chief's like, no, the writers wrote it this way. I got to walk out and get my ass hit by a big ass hammer only for you to show up in a hologram and put yourself in my shot.
He's getting needlers hit on him. He's getting plasma rounds. And then, yeah, Aatrox just goes, bink him.
Bam.
Bink him, and then he flies.
And sends him back into the thing. He sends him back into the temple. And then now it's all quiet. There's 4 Spartans lying basically dead inside a temple, and all of a sudden, all the grunts and elites and everybody have just and Aatrox just are like we wait for him to get up.
They're kneeling because the star map is up too, though.
Is it still up? I didn't think it was up because McKee's dead.
Oh, you're right. It's not.
So like that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's no reason for them to slow down, but they do. They slow down enough for everybody to focus on Chief and all the Spartans to go like, no way, Chief's down, bro. I've never seen this before. Not Chief, man. He was our only hope. And
I really like that guy.
And then Cortana just comes to in her holographic form and puts her hand on his chest, and she's clearly upset. I mean, granted, that's not hard to pull off, but I mean, Jen Taylor is the highest point of acting, I'd say. Still, like she's still great, just being a voice actress, unless she did motion capture, which was still good. And puts her hand on his chest, and then she goes from like her feet up, like transports in through his chest into his body, and then what you originally would see in the first person view was a HUD. You'd see like a little shield bar at the top, rifle and ammo on the bottom right, and like just other little pieces of data that they spent their $10 million on. And then when she comes to through the visor, instead of all that stuff, it's like blue like code like blocks on the sides.
Yeah.
To like signify that like this is Cortana. And then she says some dumb shit that's
dude.
She says some shit that like clearly some writer just saw in a book and was like, that'll be pretty cool to put in. And she says at the end of the game, the king and the pawn go back into the same box, which is like, what? And then like, I get what you're saying, but who's the king and who's the pawn? I would assume you would be the pawn, or maybe I wouldn't. Again, this is the thing, is that they write Chief to be this. They write Chief to be like he's just this vessel, and it's like he's clearly very smart. The thing that Cortana does that he can't do is she can look at the schematics of a building and tell him the fastest way to get there.
But that's why they work good together, because she's like, this is the route you're going to want to take. This is the most optimal way. This is how many rounds you're going to blah, 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 blah.
But then that's the thing, is that they have shown time and time again that she might have good ideas or like the most optimal ideas, and then Chief goes, fuck it, man, I'm gonna go out the window. And she's like, Chief, you can't do it. But he just knows the limits of himself and his armor to know what he can do.
Exactly. That's what makes Chief special.
And that's what makes them, and like that's what they tried to show throughout this series, was his like ability to just know, right? Like when he does the coin toss and he always knows when it's gonna land.
Which is a nod to the book Fall of Reach.
Which again, there you go. So it's like somebody clearly read it, or read some of it.
Somebody in the writing staff was like, I'm going to put little things like this in here
because it satisfies the fans.
Because people are gonna want that. So maybe if I put enough little nods in there,
Yeah,
we can
little
make it
nudges.
happen.
Yeah. So, anyway,
Yeah.
she goes into his body, says this quote, gets up, doesn't say a word, and then
Which is
turns into the
awkward.
robot, which turns into the robot chief that we've known, or like that they've been trying to put us onto. She does arguably all these things that Chief can do.
Yeah.
Like she has a couple different moves. I think they use the same move twice in like 3 minutes where
Why was she not doing? Go on. Yeah.
she uses like the plasma pistol to stop the elite from stabbing
Which was
her.
cool.
And yeah, but like again, it's a move that Chief can do. It's not unheard of. Like if Chief's signature is swinging his battle rifle around, then Cortana's is just like putting a plasma pistol in between an elite and then like shooting the elite and then taking the plasma or the energy sword and stabbing it into a grunt. Like it's nothing particularly cool
I liked
or
when
exciting.
Vanek curb stopped the grunt's methane
Mask,
mask
yeah, the
off.
mask off. Yeah,
That was
that was
sweet.
cool.
The thing was like,
Um,
it freaked the
yeah,
fuck
yeah,
out.
and then but then somebody just crushed his head right after, so it's like he kind of just made extra work.
It was cool. Anyways, go on.
It was cool. But so yeah, Cortana as chief or Chortana or core chief, like just kicks ass, takes names, saves the Marines, including Riz's life, which again they just tried to put into. Oh, we might do it.
Okay, you forgot to mention that Cortana this entire time could have fucking taken the Pelican and created
Yes,
even heavier Overwatch down on the battlefield the entire time. So
Chief didn't think
all of
about
this
that.
bullshit, Cortana could have just done it. All of this
She could have.
bullshit could have been avoided had the writers went, okay, Cortana's gonna do this. They're gonna grab shit. They're gonna go.
I like I said, yes. So
Yeah, sorry.
she wakes up, kicks.
Pulling
No,
my
you're
hair out.
fine. I'll backtrack. She wakes up, kicks ass, takes names, gets all the other Spartans up. In the process, without saying anything or showing anything, the Pelican comes down and just starts ripping ass. It blasts all of the brutes off the mountain, including Atriox. Doesn't show if he's dead or not, and then just continues to keep the elites at bay while she gets all of the Spartans in and picks up the artifact, which is supposed to be this big thing of Kai's like, Chief, don't touch it. Everything will go wrong. And then he picks it up or she picks it up and nothing happens to signify that like Chief's gone. Also, Chief says, or John says this right before he like gives his body over to her. She says, I don't know if I'll be able to bring you back. And he says, I trust you, which is supposed to be an ambiguous nod as to he trusts her to bring him back or he trusts her if she can't.
So
like,
yeah, later on in the episode, we're gonna
right
go
at the end. Oh wait, what part are you going to?
at the
Halsey or
end. No, at
oh,
the
at
end.
the end.
So at the end of the episode, I'm just gonna bring it up now before I forget. It's fresh in my mind. They're like, Kai is like, John, Chief, you in there?
Yeah.
Is that you? It does a close up on the visor, and there's like a red light going off, like a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, was there? I didn't
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah, there's like a red. They're looking at the console, but it said it totally to me was like, oh, John's still alive. Like beep 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 heartbeat.
It looked like a heartbeat.
Yeah. So
I'll have to go back and look.
yeah, you'll see and be like, oh, clever, very
But
fucking clever.
Chief doesn't say anything.
That was
Which is again
so stupid.
Which again is like I want it to be good, and I hope it's good because the first showrunner of this show is leaving after the first season,
You're
which is
fired.
the dumbest shit.
You're fucking fired.
I don't think he was fired. I don't think he was fired. I think he just left. I think he was like, I'll come on for the first one.
Piece of shit show.
Well, yeah. I mean, I want to. Can we get like? Does Paramount do like a Q&A thing, or like do they do like what the other movie studios do,
No,
where
they're
they
too
show
busy
off like,
suing Angry Joe for his opinions on Halo.
Oh, I mean,
not
they
suing,
take Angry Joe. They take
copyrights. They're copy claiming his videos.
They take Angry Joe out. There's a new spot for us in town.
Let's go back to Halo before we find ourselves in some weird water.
This will be some pretty funny shit if something happens.
That'd be. I'd be like, yeah, it's cool.
I'd be like,
so Dr. Halsey.
Oh yes, we forgot about her.
Reach.
Yeah, she's not. She's just
What?
writing in a journal. She's writing in a journal. She's looking at Miranda Keys. No, she's not. But like, she's just in a park with a bunch of like school children, and she's talking. Still, no character development for her. Like we've known that from time and time again. They say throughout the shows, yeah, Halsey just doesn't do well with humans because she wants humans to be better than what they are, and that's a big turning point earlier in the show because Cortana says that when talking to Chief, where she says, I've studied you and I've watched you guys interact, and I understand that what makes you special is your humanity. You being human is what makes you special.
Yep.
And I wouldn't want to get rid of that, which is why I didn't take control of your body or take control of who you are. And Halsey says in her journal when she's talking about it is that this transcendence idea of bringing humans into a higher consciousness and making them better. So setting her up as this sort of villain still if she's not understanding what her work is, or she understands what her work is, but the writers have made her work seem so evil, which it's not.
She's
And
Gru.
they make
Whatever.
Yeah, she is Gru without the cool black turtleneck or the really funny legs and like oddly shaped body.
He's like Dr.
Like,
Eggman.
yeah, and it's like and then some guy comes over and he's just like, Dr. Halsey, your shit's ready to go. We're ready to take you out of this planet now, which again is like, nobody, you guys don't, this is Reach.
How
None of you have like an Air Force. I've seen like 15 Pelicans. Like,
how are there no like scanners?
Yeah, they
like,
don't lead any ambiguous. They don't.
Like
they don't lead any crumbs to the. They don't lead any crumbs to like the UNSC figuring out that she's there or she's left.
She
or
was
she's
still
alive.
an employee. She was a previous employee, so they got to have like some way to keep track of somebody with that much secret, right?
Oh yeah, but that'll probably just come up in the beginning episode of season 2. And again, I'm still curious as to how they do this. I think that's the bigger thing we should talk about now.
It's getting fixed. Okay, yeah. So we're done with this episode then. That's the episode. It just ends.
Well, yeah, it ends after that, and it ends. The final shot is Chief not doing anything and not saying anything, and then it cuts out. But the thing that I wanted to bring up was it's bad in our minds. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter say they like it and just saying "eat your heart out," old fans, which is like you're dumbing it down into like there's people who don't like it because they're old fans and people who do like it because they don't care for it. Right. I was somebody who didn't really care for the show in the sense of I need it to be just like the games, but I want it to pay homage and I want it to stick true to the beliefs of the games and the books, right? Which is not these things. Like, yeah, it's not meant to be in the same universe. It's like, okay, but in what kind of universe is this where Chief is taken over by Cortana and that's it?
Are they doing a multiverse for Halo now too?
Well, is it supposed to be this thing now where it's like anytime Chief is kind of getting his ass whooped, Cortana just takes over, which again is like, you're just dumbing down the character as he's only so good. And it's like, no, he's the best. That's like the definition of him. That's the definition of him. So like, so I'm just curious as to how they fix this. Because or if they don't fix it at all. Like, are we going to have an entire first 2 episodes of the Halo show, the first 2 first episodes of season 2, where he just doesn't talk, only for him to like pull off the mask on the beginning of the third, or the helmet on the 3rd episode, and just be like, "Yeah, guys, pretty wild ride. I've been asleep.
Like, I'm sleepy." No, see, my thing is this.
Like, how do you fix that? If
they're not going to, I think this new showrunner. The new showrunner coming in, he's got a lot of work to do.
If he even knows what work he has to do.
Dude, he had to have done his homework and watched this, right? This is trash. Like, it got my hopes up here and there. And then I saw people hate it for the wrong reasons. I'm like, you're hating it just to hate it. Shut the fuck up. You're making people like me who have valid opinions, like, you're mad because Chief is Chad, right? Like, shut up. He's like,
oh yeah, they're doing all this dumb shit about
like,
how
I wasn't stoked on the sex scene either because I thought it was unnecessary. But I'm not mad because Chief fucked. I'm mad because it was an unnecessary sex scene. I'm mad because there was unnecessary nudity in the show, like, which has never happened in Halo. You could have literally written a show revolving around the book, The Fall of Reach, to start this off.
Yeah.
Where it starts out at boot camp, or the kids getting abducted, rather. Some nice setup of the Covenants. You know, a couple, like, 2 episodes of just John and the kids and blue team, because fuck silver timeline. Even though I grew to like Vanek, Riz, and Kai, but you stick to those characters, and you fucking yes. Go on.
Yeah, I wanted to answer. Well, unless you want to finish, which go ahead and finish. But I did.
That's what they should have done. But that's it.
I learned. All right. So I just looked up on Wikipedia. Steven Spielberg was attached to executive produce it on May 21st, 2013.
Right.
So it still shows him. It still shows him in Wikipedia as being an executive producer, but he's probably one of those guys where he just put the money in and he was like, "I'm hands off. Like I'm not talking about it."
Okay. Yeah.
Unless now he's like, "Holy shit."
Yeah. Fix this.
What is this? Which I don't know if Steven is Mr. Spielberg is very much on a plays games type of level, but I know that he enjoys games, as you know, the entire Medal of Honor video game series was because of him.
Yes.
Obviously not the newer ones, but the old World War II ones. So Kyle Killen was set to be showrunner, writer, and executive producer, while Rupert Wyatt was attached as director and executive producer. This was June 28th, 2018. On August 12th, it was announced that Master Chief would be the main lead, and the series would tell a new story from the video games while respecting their canon.
Which it didn't.
That's the point.
Wait, what'd you just say?
While respecting their canon.
I just jumped to interrupting you because I heard what you said, and my body went, no, just interrupt him because, like, they didn't. But, like, so what changed?
So on August, that's what it says. It says that it was announced that Master Chief would be the main lead and set with a new story, but still respecting what the series is.
That would have been fine if that's what they did.
On December 3rd, Wyatt stepped down as director and EP due to scheduling conflicts. He was replaced by Otto Bathurst in February 2019 when it was reported that Bathurst would be directing the pilot along with several other episodes. It was also revealed that this episode count had decreased from 10 to 9, and in March 2019, Stephen Kane was added as a co-showrunner alongside Kyle Killen. On February 24th, 2021, the series was moved from Showtime to Paramount+. Showtime president Gary Levine said that the show was an outlier for the company's brand, and as a big, broad tentpole show, it was a better fit on Paramount's service.
They don't want that.
Well, and also Showtime does do more niche stuff like Billions, and another show that I can't think of right now, but it's got Don Cheadle in it. It's pretty good. On June 25th, 2021, it was reported that both Stephen Kane and Kyle Killen will be exiting as showrunners following the completion of season 1.
Good riddance.
Killen had left prior to the start of production due to him feeling like he wasn't able to fulfill the duties of showrunner. So he left before they started producing it, which I'm assuming means that he wrote it, didn't want to do the rest of the job of being a showrunner, and then left. Kane just took the reins as lead showrunner until post-production work had been completed. However, should the show get picked up for a second season, Kane would not return. In January 2022, it was revealed by executive producer Justin Falvey that the show has potential to last multiple seasons and that David Weiner was being eyed as the showrunner for potential season 2, with Kane staying on board as a consultant. On February 15th, 2022, ahead of its series premiere, Paramount Plus renewed it for a second season with Weiner set as showrunner and EP. So here's my thing. Why is he a consultant?
You get him out of there.
That would be my question, is to him with, what's his name? That was Kane. To Stephen Kane. Have you played the games or read the books or understand the canon, which you are, according to Wikipedia, supposed to respect?
You didn't.
Like, do you know what the series is as themes? Like, I'm not asking you to give me a quick cliff notes of, like, you know, the story, but like, do you understand just the vibes, the characters, that Master Chief is a super soldier who can think for himself and isn't a robot and has his own free will, while Cortana is his super intelligent AI partner in crime who is able to basically decipher these massive amounts of information that Chief simply can't do because he's limited as being a human. He's got the intelligence, he's got the physicality, he's got the strength, the luck, the smarts, and just the confidence to be able to do all these things. But if he were to get into, say, the Covenant homeworld, he wouldn't know how to do anything else.
No.
Other than just break shit or simple hacks and simple things that he was taught in terms of that. Cortana is vastly more intelligent in the sense that she can pull data and information from anywhere at any time, any place.
Yeah.
Like a roided out Siri. That's all there is to it. There's nothing more that has to happen. Chief doesn't talk too much. Chief does take his helmet off. Chief quips. Chief cares for humans. Chief does not have any respect for the Covenant. He does. I'm sorry, I take that back. He does have respect because he shows that in Infinite.
Yep.
When he kills Atriox. He's although granted in Infinite he's much more mature. He's a mature, really arguably old, quote
Well, he's in
unquote,
his
as old
50s,
as
right?
Chief can be. Yeah, but and because of that he's jaded by war but not jaded to the point where he's out of the fight, but he's understandable enough to know that the people he's fighting are just doing their job the same way he's doing his.
Yeah.
But that's how it's so simple for him. Is it's like we're all doing a job here. The difference is I do the job better than anybody else.
Right.
So that's the thing, and I'm going, if I can, I'll try and get some more information on David Weiner here to see if he's said anything about what he's doing or if he's played the games or anything like that. I feel like this is a really a really stupid thing to say in the sense of like, look at the Witcher show. Like Henry Cavill played the games, probably read the books, but he's a nerd, right? He loves video games, and that's good.
I have no problem with the cast.
I don't either. I think Pablo Schreiber did a great job being a Chief, but they wrote Chief wrong.
They fucked him. They fucked him up. So
I think that's the same thing. Because but what's funny is that Jen Taylor did a great job as always, which makes me feel
she just played
that
Cortana.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So they knew enough to get Cortana right for the most part, other than like her weirdly watching Mickey and John have sex, which I thought was just funny. I was like, why are you showing this?
Parangoski goes, you felt her too, huh? Like later in last episode, the season finale.
I don't like.
Did you have a feeling too, or whatever? Because like I think they was just like alluded to the fact that everyone knows that Chief boned Mickey. Anyways, I'll show you the
and
clip.
They're all as weirded out as we are.
They're all razzing him like, yeah, come on.
I mean, again, I didn't really think the sex scene. I'm with Nick, right? It was more unnecessary. It was necessary in the sense to show his humanity or like his vulnerability or like his increased emotional, yeah, like that they're both just two fucked up peas in a pod, for lack of a better term. But like, that's the thing is, it's like, okay, so you did that, but it sets a tone and it doesn't really hold well because it's not like Chief is gonna be. I mean, like, she dies in the next episode. Or next 2 episodes.
Effortlessly, she's done.
She gets shot in the chest, which again, I'm sitting there going like, why are we taking so long?
I'm literally pulling my hair all sorts of fucked up. I look like Robert Smith from The Cure right now.
You need more lipstick.
Oh my god! So let's cap it. We're already we're at 50 minutes. Let's cap. We think
it's not good, Chief.
Not good.
I mean, I held out hope, but it failed.
You did because you kept telling me like, oh, come on.
They might have a chance here, and then I pivoted so hard from going, let's have a chance here, let's hold out hope, to I finished the episode, called Nick, and then came home and wrote a 10-minute ending about how.
Go on.
Should I say what my ending was real quick? Not going too crazy into it.
Yeah. But if anyone wants to read it, let us know. We'll post it.
I'll post it. I'll post it. Yeah, I got a link for it.
It's really good. Yeah, just in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. The same thing happens up to McKay dying or whatever, and Chief says, well, we got to save one or the other, and so his decision is to save the artifact, and he saves the artifact, tells Cortana to pull down the pelican to start shooting everybody off, and since he can't touch the artifact, he has one of the others do it. He has Vanek do it, and then I slowly but brutally murder Riz, Vanek, and Kai up until he's able to get into the pelican, and then Cortana shuts the door and takes off with the artifact and Chief in tow. Chief comes home, puts the hormonal inhibitor back in because he doesn't want to feel the loss that he's feeling, but understands what sacrifice is and how he's so important. And then we get a Fall of Reach set up because they find the Covenant dropship, the Phantom, that Mickey went to them with, and the prophets discover where Reach is and know that it has to be something important. That's all it is. It sets up the Fall of Reach. All the other Spartans are dead. Chief understands his sort of place now. He puts the hormonal inhibitor back in, so he's going to be more quiet to satisfy other fans. He's not super talkative, but he's talkative enough. And brutally murder all of them, and I set up a better revenge story in terms of Atriox because I have him crush Kai's head with his fucking foot.
Yeah.
So like I murdered them in terrible ways. Like only HBO would be allowed to put them on in terms of showing their gore. But like I wrote it just like that because I was like that would be better in the sense of everything. So yeah, I mean I'm not even as big of a fan as Nick. Nick's read the books. Nick's played the games a lot more than I have. Like I played 2, 3, and Infinite. Like I didn't even play 4 or 5. I just finished Combat Evolved like last year.
Right.
So like I'm a fan of what it is, but I'm not this super knowledgeable person on it. But I mean, it's not hard, dude. Just make a good show. I mean, granted, that's pretty, stupid coming from a 22-year-old who's never done screenwriting or acting or anything in his life when it comes to making things like that, movies and TV. But like, I think it's bad that when I can, in my own opinion, write a better ending in 10 minutes, I think that more so shows the quality. No, maybe not even quality. I don't like to believe that people are inherently bad writers, but I do think that some people can be lazy. And a lot of this felt lazy. A lot of this felt lazy, and there were these things they set up, like Kai's strength. Granted, they're all Spartans, so they're all probably pretty fucking strong, but they show these scenes of Kai lifting things, and clearly she's got an affinity for it, or she can do it. So it's like, again, like you pointed it out right in the an episode apart, right? Where it's like she can run at like 60 miles an hour, jump 30 feet in the air, immediately shoot a part of the ship, drop in, open up a door, throw a guy into a light, and then she gets to another door for an escape pod, and she's just completely incapable of opening it, breaking it, or anything else. Only for her to then just have the superhero moment where she climbs out of the burning wreckage in front of her friends, and she's like, let's go get that son of a bitch. Which is like, again, like you said, it's just a minute and a half to put it on Twitter and be like, can you believe what happened? It's crazy. It's wild.
Wacky.
It's like, it's not. Yeah. It's like this full of drama.
It's not good. It can be redeemed, I think. It's going to take a lot to redeem the show, but I guess we wait for the next year and a half. I guess we just wait. So I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm so fucking pissed off. We're done. I'm pissed. If you want to do another episode on it, we can. But like thinking about it, like what they did to like the show,
I don't want to do it
until season 2 comes out. Don't expect us to talk about this again.
We'll do a recap, or we'll make fun of it when we do OBO again.
I'm cool with that.
Or like, yeah, we'll make fun of it here and there, or talk about it every now and then, just to like use it as an example. But I don't think we'll talk in depth about it like this again until we get like the second season, and we'll probably do just a recap of the first before the second season.
I'm cool with that. So
yeah.
I'm sorry, man. It just made me so mad.
I know. I'm not. I'm in the same boat, right? It's like I can just be a bit more critical in the sense you get more upset about it because you're a bigger fan, and it's like I'm not to say that I'm not as upset, or I'm like content with anything they did. I'm pretty disappointed, but
yeah,
disappointed in the same reasons and different ones, arguably. So
let's give it a WASD rating before we pop off. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10.
Wow.
Because there was an attempt made. And there were things I thought were pretty neat here and there. It's going to get
You're giving it a 5, and you're giving it a 5 because you liked the combat, some of the CGI action scenes.
I liked
you thought some things. The actors are always good. I will give them that.
I liked some things.
To work with what they have, I think they could do a lot better, not because of their acting ability, but because of what they're given to say.
Yes.
I'm gonna give it like a 3.5.
So
like the actors.
So here we'll give it a 4 then.
The actors redeem it. Some of the CGI, and here's the thing: is that you like some of the action scenes. I could care less about the action scenes if the story in between is dog shit.
Story in between is the laziest piece of shit thing I've ever fucking watched in my life.
So that's kind of my thing, is that I couldn't care less about the cool action scenes, except for like those couple moments, like where Chief says afternoon, or some other cool things that are just like, I like the style of it. I like the style of the kill. That's pretty good. But it's like, all that's for, I'm not going to go back and watch this for the action, because the action's not good enough to bring me back to watch it just for that. So I have to watch this story that I really just don't understand and feel is completely wacky and out of left field that makes no coherent sense of storytelling, to watch a couple like cool kills and Chief quip a little bit. It's like that's not really worth my time.
Yeah, no,
So
cool.
yeah, I give it like a 3.5. So yeah, it's probably an overall like a 4, 4.5.
A 4 out of 10 if we had to like that. It only got a 5 for me because the actors, some of the music, uh, some of the CGI, some of the kills.
Notice he's saying some for every one of those things except for the actors.
Yeah, the actors are great. A 5, so 4 from WASD in total. Matt's never gonna watch this because Matt's lazy as fuck, and it's just what it is. Love you, Matt.
He doesn't.
He's so fucking lazy. That's why you don't see him on these episodes. So
He
yeah,
won't even hear this. He won't even listen to
no,
it.
he won't. He won't. So thanks for checking out the episode, guys. Thank you guys for supporting the entire Spawn Camp network. It's really awesome seeing everybody migrate from our respective corners of the internet to our friends on the Spawn Camp, whether it be us, Diggity, or Build Bros. It's really cool seeing everybody kind of hone in on each other and bring all of our camps together. Thus is the Spawn Camp. Fucking sweet. So yeah, be sure to check out Diggity and Build Bros soon. OBO will be back in a better format with everybody on it. Really, it's gonna be neat the way we do this. There's that. Again, check out our sponsors, Final Boss and Doc Longy. Love those guys. Got some drops coming on Friday from both, I believe. And we will see you guys this Friday with another main episode. It'll be about violence and the media. So we'll see you guys on Friday. Stick around for more shows from Spawn Camp. I am so fucking tired from work. I am losing my goddamn fucking mind, bro.
He's also very angry, so
Yeah, I'm irritated.
excuse him.
I need nicotine. So we'll see you guys next. We'll see you guys Friday. Take it easy. Be safe.
Peace out.
Bye.
See you.